It's my birthday, and there's nothing better than play drums. So I'm here at the Farnham Maltings, and I've brought some of the legends that I've been playing with throughout my life to come and play. We're gonna have a super fun time. Lots of familiar faces and some new ones. It's gonna be a great, great day. Hey James, where are we today?
We are in Bognor Regis celebrating Matt's 40th birthday.
Don't tell people the age. And then I forgot to record. So much was going on with the party. The last thing on my mind was just like vlogging and recording bits and pieces. Thankfully, I had James K there who took a load of amazing photos and did some awesome video footage. And thankfully, so many of my friends and family that were there filmed some stuff as well. So what I thought I'd do for the rest of this video is just look at some of the clips, some of the highlights, and take you through what happened on my birthday. And it was wild. Probably the most ambitious thing I've ever done. First of all, I just want to highlight Chris and Charlie, who you saw in the opening scene. I couldn't have done this without them. They were both super helpful. Chris did all of the sound for me. He did all the sound for the bands. And Charlie was effectively the project manager, the stage manager. So he looked after all the artists. He made sure I was in the right place at the right time. And he hit playback on the movie. What I put together for my birthday was effectively a film of my life, told through the musicians and the artists that sort of shaped it, from my very first band right through to the bands I'm playing with now. And so the film kicks off with a little bit of an introduction, and I thought the first thing to do would be to basically do like a solo piece, which I've never done a solo piece before. This was quite nerve-wracking. I've been doing a few solo drum performance pieces, some arrangements that my friend Bench had put together. You may have seen them on my channel. If you haven't, go check them out. But I wanted to perform one of those live, and there wasn't loads of footage of this, but there is a little bit, and so let's watch that real quick. You can hear Levi shouting in the background.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 40 years of good times and questionable decisions. Celebrating
This guy.
Tonight you will experience a snapshot of Matt's life through the music and musicians that shaped it.
So that teed up my performance piece. So the first thing I wanted to do in this medley was walk on to Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue, and then transition into one of the mixtapes that I put together with Bench. But I wanted to also add in K-pop Demon Hunters, which right now is Levi, my eldest son's, like one of his favorite songs. And a load of his mates from school were there as well. So I kind of wanted to throw that in as a bit of a tribute to those guys, and their reaction was awesome. Now, this song was like quite tricky because obviously none of it was done to click back in the day, so we're like trying to line stuff up, and it was quite hard to try and find where to come in. So it was a bit ropey to begin with, but once I was in there, we were good to go. And then the K-pop Demon Hunters bit, man, looks so epic. And then yeah, into the rest of the mixtape. There was a few bands that I was kind of in at school, and eventually landed in one which kind of fit. I love that band. That band was called Finally Approved, and it started off as just 3 of us, James and Andy. Eventually we got in 2 other guys, a friend of ours called Cena, and then Bench. So that was really cool to kind of take that trip down memory lane, find some old photos and stuff. Also played a snippet of one of the songs that we recorded. It was cool to kind of honour that part of the history, because that's kind of where it all started. So the story moves on. We start looking at what happens when I turn around 17, 18, and I had an opportunity to play for my dad's band. And they were invited to play at a festival called Greenbelt Festival, and I think it was like the 20th or the 25th anniversary of the festival, something like that. They asked me if I'd play drums, which was an incredible experience. I was 18, I didn't really know what I was doing, but they were gracious enough to allow me to play, and I ended up playing for After the Fire for a number of years, which was incredible. But what was really incredible was the fact that they agreed to get back together for this gig. Here's a picture of my dad. There he is, guy with the guitar. But what was really cool was Ian, who played bass when I was in the band, agreed to come back and do it. I haven't seen him in years and years. And Rob Halligan as well, who is an awesome artist in his own right. He actually fronted the band when I was playing for them too. So those guys came back together with my dad and Pete. So that was a wonderful reunion. But also Andy, who was the original frontman, who I had never actually played for in the After the Fire lineup before, he also agreed to come and do a song. It was a real special moment to share the stage with some legends, but share the stage with my dad as well was super cool. So the story continues, and at this point we introduce to Ghosts on Pegasus Bridge, which was, I guess, the first real band that I was a part of that started to gain any kind of real traction or saw kind of any real success, I guess. And man, that was such a ride. I grew up as a punk rock kid. I was never really into kind of heavier music until I joined Ghosts, really, and kind of I was exposed to all that sort of music. We had some amazing opportunities in that band, touring with the likes of Unit 6 and Death of Vanna, and we did some shows with Don Brocco and Light Atlantis, and yeah, it was wild. Like, it was wild. And it was always going to be a tricky one to invite to the party, partly because I lost touch with a lot of the guys. Managed to reconnect with a couple of them, which was amazing. Unfortunately, you know, perhaps understandably, they weren't really up for coming to play the party, which was totally cool. Totally respect their decisions on that, but still really wanted to do something with Finn, and so we reached out to Matt Semmens, who was in Ghosts at some point, even though me and Finn weren't in the band at the same time. So he was technically a member of Ghosts. And then my friend Dan, he was never in Ghosts. He's a phenomenal bass player, loves the music, loves the scene, and it was so good to have him be a part of it. Actually, it felt really good. Yeah, so we sort of put together a version of Ghosts on Pegasus Bridge, I guess, with Finn fronting it, which was the first time he'd fronted any type of music since he'd left Ghosts. Back in the day, we didn't run click or tracks or anything like that, which ultimately, I guess, meant that the songs were either way faster or way slower. To make this sound as full as possible, we had like click and track and all kinds of stuff to kind of really make it sound as epic as it once was. And that was cool, but man, these songs are fast and they're complicated, and it was the most intense performance out of all of the bands that played that night. It was so intense, but it was cool, and Finn did an amazing job, and so did Dan, and Matt, basically, he put all the tracks together for us. He crushed it. But the thing with Ghost was it's always about 2 vocalists, and part of the Ghost on Pegasus Bridge story is that when Finn moved on, Nic Matthews auditioned and joined the band. So me and Finn were like, wouldn't it be great if Nic came and did one of the songs? And of course, that's exactly what happened. It was just so cool to have both Nic and Finn fronting that band together on stage, which had never happened before. A real special moment. By this point in my story, Ghosts had come to an end, and I was pretty burnt out with music. I decided to take a bit of a break from playing drums and all that good stuff. And I had a complete career pivot. I moved away from graphic design and moved away from music. I ended up falling into a career as a youth worker, and I did that for a number of years. It was awesome, actually. One of the best jobs I've ever had. Worked with some amazing people. During this time as well, I met my wife. The film kind of reminisces on that moment where I got back into music, and it was around the time we just got married. I had the opportunity to audition and then join a band called the Afterparty, which was the band that Nic started after Ghosts. Man, I love that band so much. I was in that band for about 3.5 years, something like that, and just love every single person in that band, and loved every opportunity and experience that we had. And so to bring the boys back together after, oh man, what was it, like 11 years or something, playing those 2 songs with those boys, hanging out again, being in a rehearsal studio again, all of that sort of stuff. The whole experience for me, and I think for some of the other guys, it was kind of like the closure we always wanted, but never really got from our last gig. So I was so excited to be back in a room with those guys and to play again. And it was like no time had passed. It was just such a precious moment. Forever grateful to Joe and Dave and Nic and Semmens. So the story continues. The Afterparty finishing, although it was really sad, it didn't feel like it was time for me to stop playing music. After the Afterparty, Nic joined up with Alex and they started Misery Kids, and they did that for a number of years before I actually got involved. So yeah, we have Misery Kids, and it was everything that you would expect from a Misery Kids show. Out of all of the sets, weirdly enough, it was the one which was the hardest, only because for whatever reason, all of us had issues with our ears. I'm not quite sure what happened. There was some weird anomaly. A lot of tech went into the transitions from set to set. Some people were using floor monitors, some people were using in-ear monitors, so we needed to cater for all these different things. Chris did an amazing job supporting each and every band playing, and each and every musician that had specific requirements. You know, watching back some of the footage and like, it sounded really cool. The boys are pros. They might not behave it all the time, but you know, they are real. They're really professional, professionally crazy. We're now up to date with everything that's going on. And another band that gets featured on my channel quite a bit with James, and that band is called the Penny Kings. And if you've not heard of the Penny Kings, you should check us out. It was just super cool to have this element to the party, so different to the rest of the music. I felt like it was a good way to wrap up the story, but also bring that invitation to hit the dance floor and have a good time. And so I put together a Penny Kings lineup with Ben Arthey, who's one of the managers of the Penny Kings, on double bass, and James Abbott fronting band as normal, and then Jack and Andrew on sax. So this was a real treat, having 2 sax players, both amazing. And then the extra treat was also having James Orr. He's an incredible frontman, and again, I thought it'd be really cool to have both Jameses there doing songs together, and so he did the finale. So good. By this point, things have escalated quite a bit. All the other musicians came on stage, and we're just singing Hey Jude a cappella. James Orr is leading the crowd. It's going nuts. Oh, it's so cool. Such a cool moment. And that was about it. That was kind of the show wrapped. And then I went on to do some speeches, and then went around to try and meet as many people as possible. It was so hard to get around to see as many people as I could, and unfortunately I did get to say hi to a lot of people, which I was gutted about. I was blown away by everyone who took part, all the musicians, Chris and Charlie who worked tirelessly to make it happen, and then like the friends and family, everyone who came along, just it blew my mind that they were so up for just watching me play drums for 2 hours. It's wonderful. I was so pleased with how it went, and it was really cool to reconnect and bring some of these artists back together. Forever grateful for everyone who was involved, and if you were involved or you came along, you're watching this, thank you. You're amazing. For my friends on YouTube, for everyone who's subscribed to the channel or has watched any of my videos, I really appreciate it. It's not a big channel, probably never will be a big channel, but I massively appreciate everyone who watches an episode, gives it a thumbs up, leaves a comment. It means a lot. I really hope you enjoyed this, but hey, if you like this content, appreciate a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.